channel for Fantasy Knockout, fantasy football show. Today is Friday, August 4th. You can follow the show on social media at Fantasy Knockout. Make sure to subscribe whatever platform you're watching or listening on. And let's get that goal, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm excited for today's show. I'm going to be mock drafting. We're going to show you how my thought process is when I draft. Question though, have you guys become a Knockout member? If you can do so by going to the website fantasyknockout.com. You'll have access to overall and flex overall rankings for draft, flex rankings for in season, the draft cheat sheets, which we're going to be using. Here's one of them. We're going to be using that during the mock draft today. The trade chart to help you evaluate players to make trades and stuff throughout the season. There'll be priority questions and answers. It's I think it's $5 to sign up there. Pretty inexpensive. You get a lot of content. Go do that. And then also, if you're interested in joining the Knockout Listener League, there's a little tab there as well on the website. Sign up, get your entry in there, and we'll talk about that later on. Let's talk some news.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the news.
All right, news with views. So, wide receiver Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets. His head coach Robert Saleh expects Wilson to return to practice this week. Good news because, Wilson was dealing with that ankle injury last week, so he's coming back. He'll be fine, just like I assumed and thought was going to happen. Running back Javonte Williams from Denver. He has not been limited early in training camp, which is fantastic news. So I'm moving on as, he's back, that he's good to go. Hopefully he'll be ready to start the season. His head coach, Sean Payton, said that Williams should play in some preseason games. So, again, fantastic news. I'm just going to assume that he's good to go, and we'll go from there if there's any lingering injury stuff with him. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp from the Rams. He left early on Tuesday's practice with a hamstring injury. This is not good. It's said, that he's going to be out for, quote, a few weeks. So, again, not great news. The team's going to shut him down, and they're going to save him for the regular season. So maybe his price will dip a little bit with his ADP fall a little bit more so that maybe he becomes a value now. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's dealing with a toe injury. He'll be limited going forward. Not really worried about that. Running back Alvin Kamara from the Saints. He got suspended. It came down 3 games. So Kamara's going to miss the first 3 games of the season. I had him slotted for like 4 games missing when I did the the NFC South breakdown. So this is going to give Jamal Williams and the rookie Kendre Miller, who is recovering from a knee injury, I believe. It's going to give them the opportunity to start the season. Running back J.K. Dobbins out of Baltimore. His head coach, John Harbaugh, is unsure when Dobbins is going to return to the team. They met earlier in the week to discuss his current situation with the team. I know Dobbins wants a new contract, and they're kind of iffy with some of his injury stuff. Like his knee is still ailing him a little bit. So right now he is at the team facilities. He's doing a, quote, hold in. So I'm hopeful that they're going to work this out and, everything will be fine there. Running back Zach Charbonnet out of Seattle. So he's returned to practice, so this is fantastic news. Last week it was reported that Charbonnet would be sidelined indefinitely with a shoulder injury. Not what you wanted to hear in training camp. So him returning it's somewhat of a surprise, but it's great news, and I'm excited that, just to see what he can do this year. High on him coming out of the draft. So I like his talent. I like his opportunity there in Seattle as well. And then 2 quick signings. Running back Marlon Mack, he's a free agent. He just signed with the Arizona Cardinals. I believe this is just a depth move for training camp. And then running back Kenyon Drake, free agent, he just signed with the Indianapolis Colts. I believe this is going to be the replacement. He's going to replace Zach Moss, who just broke his arm. He's going to replace the time that Moss is going to miss. I don't see Drake impeding on Jonathan Taylor's time or shares at all. So, but again, another body there in the backfield.
Main event.
All right, the main event, mock draft. So I use the Draft Wizard by Fantasy Pros. I prefer this rather than doing like a mock draft with the platform you use. Like a lot of the platforms I play on, or the platform I prefer most is Yahoo, rather than using their mock draft simulator with a bunch of knuckleheads who will join and maybe draft the first 3 rounds and then go on auto, which doesn't help you learn and experience how a draft really kind of goes. Fantasy Pros is all automated. You can also do stuff with your friends on there too. As far as what we're going to do, we're just going to set it up. We are going to be doing a 12-team league, half PPR, and it's going to be a snake. The positions, we have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 defense, no kickers, and we'll do 5 bench. Pretty standard, league there. I hit random on the draft position, and it gave us 4th, so we kind of got lucky. We got the top half of the draft, which is good, so we'll walk away with at least a stud player to start with. And let's go ahead and get this started. So again, the goal of this is to help you guys understand when and where to take some players, where to take shots on players. Try different strategies. Try a 0 RB or a hero RB, or go RB heavy, and see at the end how the makeup of the team. Are you comfortable with how the team ended during your draft? And if you don't like certain things, that's when okay, maybe I need to take a quarterback a little bit earlier or later. I can wait, and pass on some of that stuff. So start out, we are the 4th spot, so let's go ahead, and we got the players here on the left side of the screen. I'm going to hit roster so it shows what our roster looks like. So it gives us a suggestion where you can select 4 players, where the quote pros suggest these guys to pick if you don't know who you want. They have their own cheat sheet, their built-in cheat sheet. It's very helpful there. We can expand these positions here so we can easily see the list of players, and then you can hit draft board so it looks like a traditional draft board if you draft offline, stuff like that. And then there's a pick predictor. It's kind of a cool little tool. It'll show you a percentage of the odds of them being drafted in the next round or 2 rounds. So it'll be fun to see which guys we can take shots on using that tool. I've used it for my advantage several times during drafts, and I like it a lot. So let's go to the draft board. We had the 4th overall pick. So the first couple guys, Christian McCaffrey starts it off. 101, not surprised. I'd be okay with that. Justin Jefferson goes next. Austin Eckler goes 3rd. So now we are sitting at, let's go to the cheat sheet. We are sitting at, let's take away the drafted players. Running backs, we can go Bijan Robinson, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. And then looking at my cheat sheet here, I have, let's see, Nick Chubb is the next running back with Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs in that tier. But I'm going to pivot. I'm going to go over to the other side. We're going to go receiver. And we have Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill. I love the talent of Jamar Chase. I have him in a keeper league this year. I drafted him in one of this new dynasty league I started with. I'm super high on Chase. I think Joe Burrow and him have this awesome connection. I think Jefferson and him, they're like 1A, 1B in my opinion. Jefferson, I give a little nod to. He'll have more yards, stuff like that. But I could see Chase with 15 touchdowns in a season. Not projecting that, but he could easily do that. So we'll go ahead and select Chase, click his name, click draft, and there it goes. It starts to auto-populate everything for you. So our next pick, we're at 209. I'm going to read off some players that have went. Tyreek Hill went next. Travis Kelce with his 6th overall spot. That's about where I think he'll go. Maybe the earliest. You could go. I'm okay with Kelce that high. I traditionally don't take tight ends that high, so I probably wouldn't be doing that. But if you want to, totally fine. That's a good spot. I'd prefer maybe a little bit later in the first. If you're one of those later spots, by all means, take Kelce. He's going to be another stud this year. Then the next one is running back. Saquon Barkley, Cooper Kupp went. Bijan Robinson at 309 or 109. I mean, Jonathan Taylor at 110. 110. Then Diggs, and then Chubb to finish off the first round. CeeDee Lamb and AJ Brown go next. Patrick Mahomes goes in the second round. You're gonna start seeing him and maybe Hurts and Allen sneaking up there. I wouldn't be touching a quarterback in the first 2 rounds personally. If one of those 3 guys, Mahomes, not Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts, if they're available in the 3rd round with like 304 for us, that's going to be a hard decision. We could go there. I typically don't. I like to wait on quarterback this year. I like the value of Joe Burrow. I like the value of Justin Herbert right now. Maybe in the 5th round, maybe the 6th round. If you miss on those guys, you can take Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields in the 6th. Lamar Jackson should be there in the 5th, probably 5th round. So we'll see what falls to us. So it's our pick now. So Mahomes, he went at 203. Then Pollard, Adams, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Amon-Ra St. Brown all went before us. So it is our turn. Allens and Hurts are available. Like I said, we're not going to take them in the 2nd round. Running backs that are available right now is Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Breece Hall, who I like a lot, but with the news of maybe Dalvin Cook going there, we should wait on Hall. Maybe he'll fall to us in the 3rd round. The receivers there are Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, who I'm really, really high on this year. I love his talent. T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf. You got Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. Andrews I would consider in the 3rd round as well. So we'll kind of have to see what's going on. I don't know. I'm torn between Ramondre Stevenson and Chris Olave at the moment. I'd prefer Jalen Waddle over Olave. Let's go running back. So we'll go Stevenson right here. I like him. He's going to catch a lot of balls. Yes, the Patriots have been working out many other running backs. They are going to sign a veteran, but I don't think it's going to eat into Stevenson's role too much. The running back I'm most concerned for would be Leonard Fournette if he goes there, just because he's the most complete full running back. If Zeke goes there, not too much worried with that. Zeke would be a very comparable Damian Harris, so it would be very similar to what we had last year. Fournette could steal more 3rd down work from Stevenson, but if it's anyone else, Stevenson to the moon this year. I like him a lot, so we're going to go ahead and draft him, selected him. After that, ETN went. Then Josh Allen in the 2nd round and a 2nd. Garrett Wilson finishes up the 2nd round. Jalen Waddle to start the 3rd. Najee Harris and Joe Mixon. So we gambled, and guess what? Breece Hall is there. Let's see what other receivers are there as well. So we have Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd be okay with Gibbs or Hall there. Olave is still there, so that is going to be the tough decision. Do we go Hall or Olave? You know what? Olave's my guy. He's going to be one of my guys this year, so let's go ahead and select Olave. Andrews is there as well. I'd rather wait on tight end, so we're going to go Olave here, but you could go Andrews in that spot. Totally fine with that, especially for him. Basically, we're going to punt on the tight end spot. We're probably going to wait, maybe see where Darren Waller goes, but not going to touch Kittle, not going to touch Pitts this year. I like Pitts a lot. I think he'll do okay, but I just got burnt last year, so he's just not completely off my board, but not looking to go after Pitts this year. All right, so the draft, we took Olave. Breece Hall went next, right after us. Then Jalen Hurts in the 3rd round, good value there. Then Gibbs, then Mark Andrews at, 308. Aaron Jones, Devontae Smith, Kenneth Walker, and Calvin Ridley to finish up the 3rd round. To me, that's a little high for Calvin Ridley. I couldn't take him that high. He has an opportunity to finish maybe top 15 as a receiver this year. I don't want to draft him at his ceiling. I want him later in the round, but we'll see. So then Miles Sanders starts off the 4th round, J.K. Dobbins, then T. Higgins, DK Metcalf. Alexander Mattison, you're going to start seeing him creep up even more now. So 4th round, that's pretty good value for Madison. DeAndre Hopkins in the 4th, too rich for my blood, so thank you someone else for taking him, not me. Damian Pierce and then TJ Hawkinson in the 4th. Again, that's too rich for me as well. I'm not liking the value of Hawkinson in a 4th round pick. I think that's too high. He is going to catch a lot of balls. He's going to have a lot of targets. The yards should be there. We just don't know about the touchdowns. Hawkinson is good, but 4th round value, that's too rich for me. So it's our pick. So let's see what we have. Lamar's available. Let's wait on quarterback, see what's there next round. Running backs available: Cam Akers, James Conner, Rashad White, David Montgomery. So that sucks. Nobody I love as far as running backs. Let's look over the receivers. You got Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Debo Smith, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore, Drake London, Terry McLaurin. So a lot of values there. Brandon Ayuk still there. We could probably take him 5th, 6th round, probably 5th round. Tight ends: George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller. Too rich for my blood. You know what? Let's do something that I normally don't, because there's no player, there's no running back or receiver that's just jumping out to me that's like screaming value that, you know, is one of my guys or guys that I'm really high on this for right now. Let's go Lamar. I would like to normally wait, but let's try something new. This is going to be different for me, so we'll go Lamar Jackson early. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities there with Todd Monken. Gonna quicker pace play this year. I think Baltimore is going to be a back not. So I was going to say they're going to come back to Lamar's MVP season. I don't know if they'll get to that level, but I do love. It's going to be a lot better than what we've seen Lamar do in the past few years. So I'm okay with Lamar this year. So we took him. After that went Amari Cooper, Debo Samuel, Cam Akers, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, and Christian Watson. So it's now in the 5th round. The team, the way we go, we have Jamar Chase and Chris Olave as our 2 receivers. Ramondre Stevenson's our 1 running back right now, and we have Lamar Jackson. So I'm looking for another running back as of right now. We got James Conner, Rashad White, David Montgomery. Might wait, because I think we can go and snag like a James Cook or Antonio Gibson, Rashad Penny, Samaje P. Ryan later on. Get some of those rookies, Zach Charbonnet and Kendre Miller. So I think we're going to wait on that. We're going to probably go receiver here. So let's put receiver in our flex. And let's go with, let's see. Let's look at the cheat sheet real quick. All right, so looking at the cheat sheet, the highest guy I have ranked is Jerry Jeudy. We'll go with him. We'll see. I mean, he's our 3rd receiver there. Going to have a lot of value there. We're going to be Russ's number 1. Should have plenty of targets. So we went Jerry Jeudy in the 5th round. We still need, we still need a tight end and a RB2. So after Jeudy, DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, Joe Burrow, they're in the 5th round. James Conner, Christian Kirk, George Kittle in the 5th round. Okay, glad we passed. Then Justin Fields, Justin Herbert to end the 5th round. So that's where I would like. I like Herbert a lot this year. So if you can grab him in the 5th round, I think that's a great value. I think he's going to bounce back up into, maybe sneak up into that top 3 quarterback contention this year. And then to start the 6th round is Marquise Brown, Drake London. I like both of their talents. I really like Drake London. Loved him last year coming out at just a solid player. Just didn't get the passing volume. He had the percentage and target share that we wanted, but they just didn't throw enough last year. I believe Desmond Ritter's an upgrade from Marcus Mariota, so I believe Drake London will improve and impress a lot more people this year. So, you know, to get him early 6th round, that's a good value. Dalvin Cook then went, Kyle Pitts, Chris Godwin, Dallas Goedert, Brandon Ayuk. I was hoping he would fall to us in the 6th round. We just missed him. He went right before us. Rashad White went right before us. So now we're sitting at 609. Let's go over to the cheat sheet and look. We need a running back and a tight end. And let's go over to that pick predictor real quick and see where Darren Waller falls. 76% chance that he's going to go before our, not the current pick, but the next pick. So if we pull the trigger on him, right now is the time to do so. So let's go ahead and do that. I like Darren Waller. He could finish top 3. So we'll go ahead and take Waller with our 6th round pick. And that went well because the 3 teams after us don't have tight ends. So Pat Freiermuth went next. Then Javonte Williams and Trevor Lawrence went next. Mike Williams to start the 7th round. Michael Pittman and Deshaun Watson. So we grabbed our tight end and quarterback. So we're kind of set there. We need another running back. So let's go over to the cheat sheet. David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco, Swift, Kamara, James Cook are all there. Let's click on the pick predictor. Let's go David Montgomery. He is now in Detroit. with that Jamal Williams role. I like Montgomery. He's been decent. He was decent with the Chicago Bears. I could see him. I see him getting a lot of touchdowns, especially if the Lions do very similar to what they did last year. So he will get the first, second down role. Gibbs is there, going to eat into the receptions. But, as far as a RB2 for the team, if he can get those touchdowns for us and enough yards, 60 to 70 yards a game, averaging, and that touchdown, that's exactly what we're looking for. All right, so the draft board after we take Montgomery in the 7th round, Dak Prescott then goes, Alvin Kamara, Deontay Johnson, Isaiah Pacheco, Kirk Cousins, DeAndre Swift, Mike Evans, and Jahan Dotson, who I do like as well. So he finished off the 7th round. Then Samaje Perine, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Jordan Addison to start the 8th. James Cook, we missed out on him. Gabe Davis, the 49ers defense, way too early to take a defense. We wait to our last picks to do the defense. And if you play with kickers, you just don't play with kickers. And then Antonio Gibson went as well right before us. So it is now 8:09, 8th round, 9th pick. Let's go check out the cheat sheet. And let's see, we got 5 benches and our defense. So we got 6 more picks. So let's load up on some higher upside players on your bench that could possibly be league-winning players. So receivers right now, Quentin Johnson, Cortland Sutton, Brandon Cooks, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I like JSN a lot. And then the running backs, A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson, Rashad Penny, Khalil Herbert, Damian Harris. So let's select the pick predictor. The running backs all have an under 35% chance of being selected. So it looks like more receivers will go in this next turnaround for us. So let's go ahead, knowing that. Let's take our receiver now, and hopefully a running back will fall to us. And let's go high upside with JSN. So we'll draft him in the, 8th round. Okay, so we took JSN, and then all receivers went. So see how the pick predictor helped us figure out to take a receiver there. And now we still have the same amount of running backs to choose from rounds later. So Kadarius Toney, Cortland Sutton, and Brandon Cooks to finish off the 8th. To start the 9th, Quentin Johnson, Michael Thomas, and Elijah Moore. So let's go to the cheat sheet and let's go. Yep, he's way down there at RB 45 on their list, and they're in the 30s, whatever. So we're probably gonna get a reach on our grade here, but I'm gonna take starting running back as of right now, Jeff Wilson of the Miami Dolphins. Starting value, I still believe Dalvin Cook's probably going to he's going to sign there versus New York. But Miami is a high-powered offense. To grab a starting running back this late in the draft, I'm going to take that value all day long. So we'll go ahead and draft Jeff Wilson. And, yep, it says there's a 100% chance that he'd be there on our next pick. But we're going to take it anyways because I wanted it. Then next, Khalil Herbert, Odell Beckham, Nico Collins, A.J. Dillon, Jacoby Myers, Brian Robinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Zach Charbonnet all went. Evan Ingram, David Njoku, Jameson Williams, who is suspended. I'm off of him this year. I don't want to deal with suspended players because they just clog your bench, and it's not worth holding on to them through those first couple weeks where you need the bench to pick up somebody important. Then just hold on to somebody, and he's struggling right now. So I'm just gonna pass on Jameson Williams this year. Devon Achane, who I do like, he just went. He has some high upside. Rashad Bateman, Damian Harris, Michael Gallup, and Rashad Penny. Hopefully Penny would slip to us. So let's look at running backs and receivers. You got Zay Flowers, Alan Lazard, Sky Moore. Let's see. Does any receiver just jump out? Zay Flowers is probably the next one I would like. Let's see if there's a running back that really stands out to me right now. And Kendre Miller, we'll get him next. So let's go ahead and take Zay Flowers with our pick here in the 10th round. Love the value. And yes, the guys we wanted did come back to us. So Jamal Williams went next. Dalton Kincaid, Elijah Mitchell to finish off the 10th. Dalton Schultz, the tight end, starts off the 11th round. Jerick McKinnon and Tyler Algier. And then the guy I wanted was Kendre Miller. So we're going to go ahead and draft him. I enjoyed watching his college tape. He impressed me a bunch. The team really trusts him to take him because he got hurt in the at the end of the season. So he was hurt during the draft processes. And most teams in the NFL will pass or really downgrade those players that are hurt during the draft process. The Saints did not do that. I think he has a chance to really come in from day one once he's healthy and take a role. I mean, it's Jamal Williams that he's got to beat out. And then it's Alvin Kamara, who's looks like he's losing his explosiveness. So he's going to be the back for the future. So second half of the season, Kendre Miller is probably going to be a stud. So I'm going to take that chance that he turns into that. So let's look at the draft board real quick, guys. And after Kendre Miller went Darnell Mooney, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Zamir White, Daniel Jones, Jalen Warren, Deontay Foreman, Devin Singletary, and Gus Edwards to finish off the 11th round. And then Greg Dulcich, who I like as well as a late tight end target. Raheem Mostert, Alan Lazard, Rondale Moore, Geno Smith, who I love to start the season if you really punt on quarterback. He's got a great schedule for the first 3-4 weeks. So if you just miss out on all your quarterbacks, Geno's got a nice one, a nice schedule. Romeo Doubs, Cordero Patterson, and Tua Tagovailoa all go in the 12th round. We have one more bench spot and a defense. So let's look at probably another running back. We'll go Tank Bigsby. He has a chance to eat into Travis Etienne's role and workload this year. I know the team doesn't want to use Etienne 75 to 80% of the time. So they're going to drop his percentage down. Tank Bigsby is a big player. He can catch the ball. He can also do the goal line work because he's a bigger body back than Etienne. So those are the two things I want in my running backs: goal line and pass catching ability. So he's got high upside, and if it doesn't work out, we can always cut him and find somebody else to go from there. So the last position we have to take is a defense. So let's go ahead and just select the top one, which is the New York Jets. There's the top one left, and there we go. And then it finishes auto drafting our board, and we got a score of 83 out of 100. The score, yes, it would be nice if you got a 99, which I've never seen. But if you get in the 90s, I mean, that's what you're shooting for, right? 83, I'll take it. That's still a solid score. You don't want to be you don't want to get a D or an F. That's where you're like, ooh, I really screwed up. So let's look. Let's hit project standings, and let's look and see where it grades us, and it kind of explains why it graded us there. But real quick, let's go to the draft board and show you the team. So our quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Our starting running backs are Ramondre Stevenson, David Montgomery. They're probably going to ding us there because we don't have those stud running backs. Our other bench running backs are Jeff Wilson, Kendre Miller, and Tank Bigsby. Cool. And then we have our receivers: Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Jerry Jeudy, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Zay Flowers. So we're going to probably play a receiver in our flex more often than not. Our tight end is Darren Waller, and we have the Jets defense. Solid team there. So let's go back to the summary where it's going to break it down for us. So we're ranked 6th out of 12, right in the middle as far as our overall team value with the Fantasy Pros grading system. We can click this tab here that shows us our starters. We're right there in the middle, which is why we're in the middle. So again, 6th. And our bench, pretty good bench. We're about 4th place, ranked 4th out of all the teams right now. Let's go over to expert opinions, and it shows you some fantasy experts that like your scores and guys that don't. So you can read their comments and the players that they highlight that you have on your team. So then I like this one. This one helps me learn. This is a cool learning tool here. It's called Steals and Reaches, where right here it's going to show you your team and steals. So a guy that you got 2 rounds later than they should have, they'll highlight on your team. So we look down here to this Mayor, the best man win. Rashad Penny is a steal for him. So we had no steals in the draft in this draft. Let's go to value picks. No value picks. So that's why we got an 83 versus a higher score. Slight reaches. Jeff Wilson, I called it before we even took it. We probably could have waited around, but Jeff Wilson, we got dinged for him. And then any reaches, this is where you don't want to see players like this highlighted on your team, which means you paid way too much of a draft price on them when you should wait another 2 rounds or so. So we didn't get any of those, so that's great news. So we did pretty well there. Then let's go over to pick analysis. This will show you, give you ideas. It'll where you took certain players. They'll show you where you can upgrade or could have upgraded and got a higher score if you took certain players instead of the players that you took. But we'll go to the team strengths section where it's going to rank your players against the rest of the league that you're playing in and give you a breakdown. So quarterback, we have the 4th best ranked quarterback out of all the teams. Our defense is 5th. Okay, our flex is 6th, and the tight end is 7th because we kind of waited on some of those. We have the 3rd best receiving core out of all the teams, which is good. We have one of the last ranked running back rooms, but we knew that because we kind of waited on those. But our bench, look, we have the 5th ranked bench, so we cover that gap with a lot of those bench players there. So not bad. I like this team. Let's go over to the draft board and collect this, not by round, by team. And this will break down it'll show you everybody's team, and you can kind of compare your team versus the other teams and see, okay, this team I'm scared of, and this team, oh wow, they did not do good, and then my team looked good. I'm excited for this draft here. I believe we did pretty well. Chase Olave to start it. Waller's going to be a solid tight end this year if he can stay healthy, barring injury, right? I like the upside of JSN and Zay Flowers. We don't need them to start week 1 for us in our starting spots, so that's cool. Develop into, get used to it, and yeah, I don't know. I like this team a lot more than the grade that it gave us, so I'm excited for it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. The next show is going to be the quarterback rankings. We're going to start the ranking series, so we'll go over my rankings of each position for the drafts. I want to say thank you for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe whatever platform you're on. Please leave that rating and review. It really helps me out. All right. Till next time. See ya.